Hello YouTube, Reverend Sackett here. To everyone out there who enjoys what I do and has read my books and likes my books and likes the website, the YouTube videos, everything that I talk about, everything that I review, I praise you for it. But if any of you have ever tried to stand for something, if you've ever tried to be an advocate for something and put your soul into something that you really and truly believe in, there is a price, a very high cost that comes with that, and I've realized that. I'll tell you, give you an example. Relationships. It's extremely difficult for me to get into a relationship with a female because of what I do. I have met women who are absolutely mesmerized by me at first, but then they begin reading my website and begin exploring the darker areas and the regions and the boundaries of the website and reading what I've posted that's been written by other members, and they come to believe that I advocate rape and all of this, which is not the case. I simply advocate freedom of speech. But that's not what the idea is, what the idea that is presented is, and they immediately cut contact with me. I've had family members who have disowned me. I've had friends who have turned their backs on me after all these years. And I realize now that when I was growing up in high school, in middle school, I had this image in my head of what high school should have been like. That it should have been, party time, up and down, this, that, and the other. Have fun, be yourself, be accepted by a group. And then when I began experiencing my high school years, it just wasn't what I wanted it to be. It wasn't what I had expected it to be. But now that I look back on it 8, 9 years later, it was my experience. And I remember it just as more so than I realized that I would have remembered it as. I'm not sure if this is making sense, but what I'm trying to say is the high school experience I lived was more intense than than the high school experience I would have liked to have lived. The high school experience I would have liked to have lived would have been to have grown up back in the 70s. However, there was a group of individuals that I was very attached to, and these were the people who were kind of in between the extremely popular kids and the not so popular. I mean, in high school you have all different kinds of cliques and groups, but the football playing prep group is the largest group, a very large group of very popular, very beautiful people that hang out together. And then little split-off groups of people that don't give a fuck. But the skater group, which, and even in middle school, the group of the skater guys that used to be right underneath the extremely popular guys, the skater guys were kind of like the bad boys. The girls liked the bad boy image, and that was the group that I tried to bond with, which more or less I ended up being a poser. I was a poser in school. God damn it, I'm proud to say it. I was a poser in school. But it bothers me now because, I get on Facebook a lot. And getting on Facebook is very difficult for me because, you see people who are in positions in life that may be better than your position, and you envy them, or you're jealous, or maybe you had hoped to see that person fail to make you feel better about yourself. Someone that you look down on in high school, you find out has moved to New York and has graduated law school and is now a public defender, moving his way up the ladder, going to become a member of a major law firm, something of that nature, and it makes you extraordinarily jealous. Then you have the kids who were blessed from the start. You remember those, the 1 or 2 kids that just happened to be extraordinarily beautiful, just happened to be extraordinarily intelligent, just happened to be extraordinarily charismatic, just happened to get all the scholarships, just happened to go right down the right path in life, and just everything, it's all, the stars and everything aligned perfectly for them. They didn't for me, or most people for that matter. People remember me, if they remember me at all, remember me as a quiet, disturbed, depressed individual. That is the most common reference that I have heard about myself. The quiet, depressed guy that didn't say much. But it wasn't like I was one of the unpopular, quiet, depressed guys. Everybody knew me. I mean, I was friends with everyone. I was acquaintances with everyone. But my relationship to the main central unit of the social network was peripheral, not central. The main social network, I was not a direct member inside of that network. I was merely outside of that network and associates of all those people. And now here it is, 8 years later, and I keep regretting every day, every minute of my life that I was not in that central group. I mean, what the fuck? Why is it that 8 years later in my life I'm suddenly beginning to miss something that is gone? It's fuck it. It's high school. People have forgotten about it. Things change. People move on. People forget. People don't care. And I've sent messages to some of the people that I grew up with, some of the people I idolized, some of the people I've known since kindergarten, and they don't really have much to say. They don't really respond to me with much interest at all. And that pisses me off. It's like, hey, motherfucker, we grew up together. Don't you want to talk to me? I send you messages and you just ignore me? You talk to this guy and this guy, but you don't talk to me? Are you freaked out by me or something? Is it my website? So, the point of this video being, when you represent something as extreme as I represent, there is a cost and there is a high price. And I've been doing this for 5 years with no success at all, with not one single fan, not one single member, not one single person that supported what I was doing. I received negative review after negative review after negative review after negative review. But people told me give it up. You're fighting a lost cause. People are just not going to tune into it, and now they have. They've started to. You guys have started to recognize something, the message that's being sent out, and that's made me realize that I've come to a pivotal point in my life where I can move on. I've got new people. I've got people to focus on, people that I'm responsible for, because as a visual circleist, we depend on each other. I've got people that are dependent on me, people that need me, people that I have an obligation to, and people that have an obligation to themselves. And now I can finally put that behind me and move on now. It's like I've been trying to prove to the world, I've been trying to prove to my family, I've been trying to prove to my friends, but more than anything, I've been trying to prove to myself that I'm worthwhile, that I can be remembered as a human being, that I am something. And when you try that long and that hard to be something, you realize that you're only trying to prove it to yourself. You're not trying to prove it to anyone else, because no one else gives a rat's fuck. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if I became a major movie star. People would say, hey, went to school with that guy. Move on. Who gives a fuck? You know? I mean, none of that matters. It's all immaterial, you know. But with as much turmoil as I've experienced in my life up to this point, just devastation after devastation, loss after loss after loss after loss after loss after loss. You know, it's like crawling out of a hole and getting knocked right back down in it again and hit on the head with a shovel continuously until you're on the verge of committing suicide, and then a light comes at the end of the tunnel, and you realize you just might have a chance at making it.